This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you're encouraged to subscribe, like, and share the African American scene on YouTube under WPSL TV. Howard Insurance in Port St. Lucie presents the African American scene right now with your host, Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. Well, 6 more days, and this nightmare will hopefully be over.
Has there ever been in our lifetime such a controversial election situation?
No.
I don't think there's ever been anything like it in the entire history of the U.S.
I don't think so. I absolutely don't think so. This is just a unbelievable mess is what it is. It is just an unbelievable mess. And what's funny is some people I've known a long time have taken some positions that absolutely have astounded me. So I don't know. It really started with Obama that I started to see people have these strange positions. And it's only gotten worse under Trump. But I got to say, I'll be one happy guy when Tuesday gets here. In light of the fact that this is the last show before the election, I wanted it to leave this open for you to call up, share your grievances, your concerns, your hopes and desires for what you hope's going to happen on Tuesday. Number's 340-1590. That's 340-1590. I will tell you a couple things here that I find interesting. The situation in Philadelphia. For those of you that have listened to me for a long time, you know I was born and raised in Philly until I was 14 years old, and we moved to Jersey. So I'm very familiar with the city, but I saw the video of what happened. And there are those of you out there that are going to defend the police and feel that they didn't do anything wrong, but I saw the video. His mother was out there. The guy was in mental distress. His mother was trying to pull on him to get him to stop. Now, there's no question he had a knife. And there was other neighbors out in the street yelling that he's not well. And they backed up a little bit, and then they shot him like 10 times. I don't get it. In my opinion, there's going to be some of you that want to call up and disagree with me, and you're welcome to do so. In my opinion, had they backed up some more and allowed the mother to intervene like she was trying to do, and neighbors, there was the mother and neighbors out there both trying to get him under control, I think the whole thing could have been avoided. That's my opinion.
My opinion is a taser will beat a knife better than a gun will.
They even could have took a baton and smashed his hands to knock the knife out of his hands. I mean, you know, a couple, but they killed him. So I don't know.
There's something wrong with the system when that keeps on happening over and over and over and over again.
There is, and I'm telling you, there's people listening right now that's going to say, well, what do you think officer's supposed to do? Officer don't have to do that. Officer does not have to do that. And then this morning on the CBS Today show, they interviewed 2 of the jurors that were involved in the Breonna Taylor file. in the Breonna Taylor case. And the witnesses, one of whom got very emotional when they were interviewing him about what happened in the jury. And he was upset because the way Cameron made it seem as if they had the options to do things that they didn't have the options to do. They were not given those options. But we have Steve on line one. Yes, sir.
Hey, Rudy. Good to talk with you. I don't have time anymore to listen. I've got other responsibilities. But I want to make one comment on the first thing, and that was that I saw online your son, and you have something there to be proud of. I appreciate your son. I was watching him and the reaction and his character. So you and your wife and the Army, or what was it, Armed Services, have done a really good job.
Thank you.
I want to get that at the cross first.
Thank
and
you.
I know that you've probably already voted, and so have I.
Yeah.
And and it's quite evident that you form your conclusions from subjective and objective opinions and circumstances and information. So, your mind is already made up. My question that I come up to at this point of view, at this time, is, have you done the opposition research against Joe Biden?
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you have, what are those things that you see in Joe Biden that you are willing to overlook and still get his vote? Because that's the same thing, you've asked me, why did you vote for Trump? And I said he was the best candidate. I said, sure, he has the faults. But what are those things that have been revealed about the character of Joe Biden and his history that you're willing to overlook and you want him to be president of the United States? That's kind of what I'm looking at.
Well, I'm going to say I don't know that I really want to get into that, because that gets me on a merry-go-round, around and around, because I'll say this and you'll say that, and then we end up going nowhere. All I will say this is, forget about the opposition research for a second. Why am I going to vote for Joe Biden over Donald Trump? Ask me that question. I'll answer that.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask it that way is because, in essence, Trump has been accused of working with foreign governments, and we spent 4 years of trials and stuff. Right now, Joe Biden's got a lot of baggage. Kamala Harris, when they were in the primaries, she tore him apart. She didn't call him a racist, but she insinuated that he had associations and views and laws that were consistent with what racial and would be called racist today. So Kamala Harris is his vice president candidate. And over the period of time, we've seen that Joe Biden has had to actually stop being a candidate in a presidential election because of plagiarism. And he kept his office in, I guess it was the Senate then. And then Kamala Harris said, it was the evidence that the women had put forward seemed to be credible against him as far as a rape case or, So here we have this situation, and especially now with where Bobulinski has come up, which he is a sincere, credible, factual, evidence-holding witness to Joe Biden and his son being involved in things that Joe Biden said he was not.
He was not.
And
there's no proof of that.
Yeah, and so
there's no proof of that. There's no proof of that.
Absolutely, there is.
No, there's not.
There is more proof.
There is no proof of that. That the FBI has, not only proof of it is on Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh, but there is
That's
no
actually-
proof. There is
actually very wrong.
there is no objective proof that he was involved in any financial transactions with Hunter Biden in which he received profit.
Okay, and you haven't listened to Bobolinsky. And Bobolinsky is a partner of Joe Biden's son, Hunter. He was a go-between and a business partner.
But Joe had nothing to do with that. Now, if you want to say that Hunter may have had some inappropriate financial transactions, okay, maybe, but it's already been proven. They've investigated it. He's had nothing to do with that.
Actually, they have not. And if you
have investigated it. Do your research.
Rudy, we're doing a subjective right now, and that's a subjective point of view, which was used against Trump, and it was used against Kavanaugh, and look at the trouble it caused. Even if you say that it has been proved it has not, because they have evidence. They have the phone calls. They have the transcripts. The FBI has it. They haven't had time to look through it, and some of those papers have been released. The problem being here, do you see that what the Democrats have done in this fire against Trump is exactly what they can expect from the Republicans to do to Biden if he wins? Because there is more substantial evidence.
Then they should do it.
Involvement with
don't talk about it though. If that's the case, they should do it. If Joe Biden is guilty of inappropriate financial transactions with the Chinese, I am for them doing it, because I don't want a president. No, listen to me for a second. I don't want presidents that's doing inappropriate financial transactions with China
and Ukraine.
Okay, so I'm just telling you that I don't want a president that would do that. Okay. So that doesn't upset me. I want him to investigate it. Okay. And if he's guilty, then they should take the appropriate action. I got a problem with that.
Okay, I'm with you there on that.
Okay, but there's been no evidence of that, and I got another call. So
actually, there has. So check out on it.
No, it's not.
Be a critical thinker and be a critical thinker.
It has nothing to do with critical thinking. It's about getting information.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's about we got Rudy on line 3. Yes, sir.
Rudy.
Yes, sir.
Uncle.
Rudy, it's Rudy.
Yes.
Yes, it is. How are you, my nephew?
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to call and bring some things to people's mind when they talk about, the cops were legitimate. I want to remind them of something. Only 2 short weeks ago, 3 at the tops, there was another incident with a white young man, and he had a butcher knife, a big butcher knife.
Yes.
And they had called the police, and there was like 5 or 6 cops around this guy. All of them had their guns out. All of them had their guns pointed at him. He even charged at the police with this butcher knife, and they backed up.
Yes, I saw it.
None of them shot. Not one of them fired a gun. And what they did, they backed the car up and knocked him down, and the knife went out of his hand. And then that's how they arrested him. But this nonsense of every time it's a black person, they got to shoot him 5, 10, 15 times is nonsense. It's genocide. As far as I'm concerned, that's what it is. I think they come there with that in their heart and in their mind, plan to do. And I'm going to tell you something else while I'm on the subject of it. All these people out there who call themselves Christians. Now, you can get mad if you want. I don't care. And you think there's anything good about this despicable human being who is told women he grabs them by the genitals when he feels like it, charged with rape that he's still going to be charged for. 17 women out there have said there's sexual problems with him. He called John McCain not a hero because he was captured. He's done so many despicable things. He ran a 4-year lie on President Obama, said he wasn't born an American, when all they had to do was call over to Hawaii and answer the question, was he born over here in Hawaii? And they would have said, well, yeah, he's born in this hospital. 4 years he ran this lying nonsense. This man is nothing but a pathetic liar, and I'm really disgusted with all my so-called, and I mean so-called, Christian friends who try to stand up there and say he's a good man. There's nothing good about him. He's evil from the jump. And people that lived with him and knew him from New York know full well what he's all about.
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
I will share this with you, Uncle.
Mm-hmm.
The day he had to show his birth certificate, I felt hate in my heart like I have never experienced in my life.
Yeah.
For about 72 hours, I really couldn't look at any white people because I felt that was designed to degrade him and humiliate him. And I was just absolutely furious that the President of the United States had to show his birth certificate like he would have had a chance to be president if he wasn't from America. Sometimes people just don't think. Do you think if Hillary and Bill had any idea that he was an American citizen, that they wouldn't have turned on him about that as much as she wanted to be president?
Absolutely.
That hurt me to my core.
Yeah,
but
this man is a fraud, and the only thing that gets me is that he's deceived so many people, and people who I really thought had it together. And it's just amazing to me how this man deceived them. It's amazing, and I kind of feel sorry for our country if we can't do no better than that. If we're putting this guy up on the Republican Party, that is the best they could come up with. Well, that's pretty sad.
I will tell you this. I told this story to someone the other day. My foot doctor, I was at his office on Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, so I was at his office on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. His son-in-law is a international lawyer over in Geneva somewhere with his daughter. And his son is in there with lawyers from Australia and Japan and China, England, from lawyers from all around the world. And his son-in-law said they came up to him and said, "What happened to you guys? We used to look up to you."
Yeah.
And he said his son-in-law was speechless. He didn't know what to say, but they were saying, "We looked up to you. We thought, we admired your country. What happened to you?" So I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people can't see the degradation that has happened to us as a country. I don't know why they can't see it.
I don't get it. I've never seen such hatred. Now I'm 80 years old. I have never seen so much hatred in any election ever that I can ever remember in my lifetime. Yeah. And it's all spirited by the man at the top. That's where it comes from.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So I'll get off and let somebody else vent.
Okay.
But we just have to keep praying. I tell you.
Yeah. Thanks for calling, Unc.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
Take care.
All right.
Let me ask you a personal question, Rudy.
Yeah.
Were you named after your uncle?
No, I was named after my father.
Oh.
But all three of us have the same first name.
Okay.
Rudolph.
I've heard of that. Yeah. All right.
He's Rudolph Terry. My dad was Rudolph Howard, and I'm Rudolph Howard.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we got another caller there.
No, the Carol. Let me check because we got something else.
Yeah. So and listen, when my dad was alive and we had a family gathering, it was a real farce because they'd say Rudy, and the three of us would all turn around to answer the call. So who knows? But I had a nickname when I was younger, so that they could avoid that. So we'll see. But yeah. Okay, and we got Ken. Oh boy, I expected you to call, Ken. I expected you to call.
You did? Yeah, I didn't get to call you last week.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment on your last call.
Okay.
So then I have a question for you. A couple, actually. Hillary Clinton actually sent someone to Kenya to check out about Obama's birth certificate.
She what now?
She sent someone to Kenya.
Oh, to check on his birth
to
certificate?
check out to see if he was born there or not.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So I mean,
so what did she find?
she would have brought it up if she found out anything.
Of course. That was the point I was making.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that because she didn't take it for granted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But first of all, come on, Ken. Here's the other thing. Do they think that the Secret Service and the FBI would not have known if he wasn't an American citizen? Are we really thinking that there's that big of a breakdown that they wouldn't find that out?
Well, I don't know, Rudy, about that because I don't have much confidence in the FBI these days.
Well, you can argue that for sure, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. I want to ask you another question, Rudy.
Okay.
Actually,
all right.
Two questions.
Okay.
And I'll try to make it quick. When somebody mentions LBJ, what comes to your mind?
The Great Society and the Voting Rights Act.
That it?
The Voting Rights Act comes to mind. When you say LBJ,
Yeah,
the Voting Rights Act comes to my mind.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're asking me. That's one of the things that come to my mind.
Okay. Voting Rights Act was passed by Republicans, not the Democrats.
What, the Great Society?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what I think of. One of the things, and I bet not many people think about this. John Kennedy was assassinated.
Yes.
Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Yes.
Robert Kennedy was assassinated.
Yes.
And Malcolm X was assassinated.
Yes.
All during basically LBJ's term. Of course, he was vice president when John Kennedy was assassinated. What do all those people have in common?
The same thing that is in common with what Lincoln did. They all tried to advance equality rights in the country.
Yeah, right. Isn't that a coincidence?
No, I don't think it's a coincidence. Listen, I gotta be honest with you. I was scared to death most of the time while Obama was running because I was just as sure as anything. I thought they were going to try to kill him. And I think they probably did try, but I was scared to death that he was going to get assassinated.
Yeah. And the other thing too is Hoover ran the FBI then.
Oh, yeah.
And Lee Harvey Oswald met with Russian agents
Yes,
in
that's
Cuba.
true.
And the Russian agent he met with was specialized in assassination for the KGB.
All right.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
Okay, yeah. Ken, I got other calls. But
I got one more question for you. One more question.
Okay.
And I'll just put it out there and I'll let you decide. Brennan hacked into Dianne Feinstein's computer during the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to know why. And what gave him the authority to do that? Ever thought of that?
No.
Well, you know that's true, right?
No, I never thought about it, no.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask that is because he was the head of the CIA, which has to do with foreign intelligence. It doesn't have to do with people in the United States, U.S. citizens. That's supposed to be taken care of by the FBI. And not only that, but she was the head of the committee that had oversight over the CIA and the FBI. So I'm wondering who gave him the authority to do that. Do you know about this?
No, I don't, but
It has to do with waterboarding.
I don't think
it has to do with waterboarding.
I don't think the issue is the authority. I think the issue is the why. Why was he interested in information that was on her computer?
The FBI, the CIA lied about the effectiveness of waterboarding. And Dianne Feinstein found out about it. There was a whistleblower that told her about it.
Okay.
And she started getting on the CIA. And then the next term, the CIA gave everybody on that committee new computers, but they were all bugged.
Okay.
The result of this was he apologized to Dianne Feinstein. No criminal charges, no firing. He apologized. And he didn't even say he apologized for doing it. He blamed someone else in the CIA for doing it. Dianne Feinstein had an independent company look into her computer and trace the bug back to the CIA.
Okay. I got to go, Ken.
You might like to know that. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I got 2 callers here. Winnie? Okay, she's gone. Steve?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can I ask one more question for 10 minutes? What I wanted to do was call in and congratulate the American people for standing out in the rain, the cold, the heat, to vote. The evil ones have tried everything in the world to stop them. And the Americans proved they're not Democrats or not Republicans, they're Americans.
You're right.
And freedom means more to us than any party label.
You're right.
So that's what America's learning today, and our kids better take note of that. The old man, the old lady got off their dead butt and went and voted because America matters.
Hey, listen, he had the exact reverse effect that he was hoping to have. He did. Right. He talked down and made up so much stuff about the vote. People got absolutely fired up and said, "Oh, I'm going to vote."
He made the swamp bigger.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't drain nothing. He just made a bigger swamp. That's all.
Yeah.
And it's like the lady said today on an interview. She said, Trump's the type of guy that when he needs you, boy, man, he's right there, rah, 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 but he doesn't need to see you later, bye. Who's that? Throw him out. But I am proud of America today.
Me too.
I'm seeing people waiting up to 10 hours to vote. Now, that's impressive.
Yes, it is.
That's dedication. That's Americanism.
Thank you, Steve.
And I'm going to ask one more question.
Okay.
Airtime's inexpensive this time of year. Go right ahead.
No. You know what I want to say to that gentleman?
What's that?
We don't care about Lee Harvey Oswald and Kennedy and all that garbage right now.
No,
we have problems in front of us that make those look very small.
Yeah, I agree.
We could lose a whole country here, not just an individual.
I agree.
So stop and think and vote.
Yes, sir.
I'm done.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay. And is that Winnie? Yes, Winnie.
Hey, Rudy.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm moving to another location. I ain't got my TV connected up, not yet, but, and anyway, then, somebody told me about this black man in Philadelphia got shot or something, and he was waving a knife. And how many times did they shot him?
10 or 12 times.
12.
I saw the video.
That's crazy. That's a lot of time.
Yeah. He was mentally disturbed.
Who they got? Ben McCrum for the lawyer on that one, or no?
I don't know. It just happened, so we'll have to see. But his mother was out there when he got shot. She was trying to restrain him because he's having a mental issue.
They say he was mentally ill?
Yes.
Oh, that's so sad and everything. I'm telling her up. He said that's another one. Another one. Like the list just go on and on and on.
It does.
Okay, then take care. Y'all have a good night.
Okay, thank you, Winnie. All right, and we got Jay. Jay, how are you, sir?
Okay, how you doing, Rudy?
Okay.
All right, pretty good. No, I wasn't going to call you because I was just listening, but I just had to when a gentleman just before the last caller was asking about Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and is he really a citizen of the United States? And when I think about what I went through when I was being vetted, when I was drafted, I went into the Air Force, and I was assigned communications, which I had to have a top secret crypto clearance. And the CID officer that was interviewing me, he's like a CIA agent that does the interviewing and does all the check your background and everything. They went all the way back from where I was born. Yeah. They knew everything. They went to my neighbor where I lived. Not only did they check with my, with school, where I went to school and my, teachers and all that, they checked with the neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay. But, it's just so idiotic just to listen to grown people still question, and think about, even bringing that subject up. And this man was the president of the United States. If he was president of, do you know that they know everything about him that he doesn't even know?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely.
I mean, it's so idiotic that every time I just think about, and I'm not, I'm just an ordinary person. And when I had to go, I didn't have anything to hide, but they checked everything that humanly possible, and I saw the record. And then, they just asked me a few questions. But the thing that they didn't move, there was nothing there wasn't any rock they did not turn.
Yes.
Went on jobs, everything. So, it's just it's so sickening and sad. It's just a waste of time, and it seems like they're picking at straws because they're just so in love with this man that's sitting in the White House who really needs to be vetted. He should have been vetted before he became president. Huh?
Yeah, I'll say.
He should have been vetted. I just want to say this before, I hang up. I had a chance to, yesterday, I met up with, I was working at the Civic Center, doing some work, a poll watcher. And I had a break, and I went out, and the Congress mask was out there. So I went over to Mask, and I just came up to him and I approached him, very nice, and gave him the respect. And then I asked him a few questions about how could you, I asked him, how could you support and be 100% behind this president when he disrespected the men and women in the military by Russia putting bounties on them in Afghanistan. And I never heard you say anything about that, and I don't hear you criticizing. And you were, you almost lost your life over there. Don't you have anything to say about that, or do you go along with, or you just ignore what the president says and still support him, or you just blind to that, or what's your game? I just want to know because this is what people are thinking about before they vote for you. So I'm just trying to figure out what was on your mind when he was just ignoring what Putin and Russia was doing, and with the bounty they put on troops. The same people that maybe you were fighting with and fighting right next to shoulder to shoulder. So how could you look in the mirror at yourself? He stood there for about 30 seconds, didn't say anything. Well, I don't know if the whole story. I said, you're a congressman, man. Come on. I said, I'm not going to sit here and this going to make me like I don't know what's going on. It's just so sad that you would go along with, and that's just one out of so many things that he has done to disrespect this country and the people, that mainly the soldiers, talking about the suckers and losers and all that kind of stuff. It just goes on. Well, I didn't hear him say it. Well, I said you can go to any newspaper or any network and they'll play the tape back for you and tell you exactly what he said and when he said it. And that was all I had to say to him. I just had to get it off my chest with him. Yeah. Just to let him know that we're not, people out here not stupid or dumb and don't know what's going on. And just wanted to know where you were coming from. Why would you follow for somebody like that and give up your integrity and all that you went through for him? Because he's not going to be there forever. So that was just my conversation with Brian Mask. It was kind of sad talking to him and knowing that he was just sort of trying to skate around it and not be honest and just come right out and say, tell me how he really felt. But that's what we're up against, Rudy.
Yeah.
We just got to make sure everybody gets out there and vote, and we just got 5 to 6 more days to go.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see what happens.
All
Take
right,
care.
Jay. Thank you. And we got Steve. Yes, Steve. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rudy.
Hi.
I have got a question for you. It would be a great trivia question if I knew the answer to it. Who was the last president not to appoint a judge to the Supreme Court?
I think it was Carter.
Okay, because I'm really not sure. But it seems as though for a long, long time, everybody I know says, who are you voting for? And it's every presidential election. Who are you voting for? And if you're voting Democrat, so and so is for abortion. You don't want them to appoint a judge who's going to keep Roe v. Wade on. I was under the impression that every president had that power, but not every president used it.
Well, I'm going to just say this. What they just did, we were already divided. There was already a lot of tension and conflict. And what they just did with Amy Coney Barrett, which her qualifications, in my humble opinion, I'm not a lawyer, but I know lawyers 3 times her amount of experience that have argued cases before the Supreme Court, et cetera, that are more qualified. But be that as it may, I think the issue becomes they have just now created another issue that will make Democrats want to get a payback. And that's unfortunate. They're going to try to get a payback. And I don't blame them, because I think they should.
You're talking about after the Merrick Garland incident.
Well, the Merrick Garland, do you know they didn't even give him an interview? It was like spitting in they spit in President Obama's face. And I am a big President Obama fan, but I have always held that against him. He should have taken them to the mat and fought them to the bitter end about that particular situation. But he was always trying to be in the middle and be a gentleman. And all the conservatives did was spit on him and try to make it as hard as possible for him to do anything. And if you see some of the interviews that have taken place, they admitted they were told to not agree with anything he wanted to do. They've admitted it. But you know the difference between President Obama and President Trump? President Obama never whined. He never complained. He never asked why people don't like him. He kept his head up high and kept doing the job to the best of his ability. And I am so proud of the way he handled it because, I'll be honest with you, he handled it better than I would have because some of those guys, I would have punched them out. I would have punched him out. There's no question about it. And then I would have been kicked out of the White House. I ain't kidding. I would have. Listen, when that guy was when he was in Congress and the guy yelled out, you lie, which was the ultimate insult, I would have told him, you know what? After this meeting is adjourned, you meet me in this back hallway over here. Because we need to deal with this. That's the way I see it, tell you the truth. Now, but that's why Rudy Howard would never be president. And you had one guy, senator, said he got disgusted when he had to stand in the same room with President Obama. Please, that's
wow.
Oh yeah, he
That's
went
a guy
through
with a problem.
He went through some stuff, man. You don't know. That's why Michelle hates politics so much, because, to be perfectly honest, she wouldn't have put up with a lot of the stuff that he put up with. But anyway, thanks for your call. I got to take a little break.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to take a little break.
Bob, when we get back, you're going to be next. This will be a short break, so hang in there.
Yeah, don't go anywhere, Bob.
You're listening to the African American Scene. We'll be right back.
My name is Lieutenant Commander Pam Keith. I am running to be your advocate in Congress. I will prioritize bringing COVID under control, fight to get federal money to help families and small businesses, protect Social Security and Medicare funding, bring good jobs to our area, and address the systemic injustice that has plagued our nation. I approve this ad because the people who got us into this mess will never get us out of it. Vote Pam Keith for Congress. Paid for and authorized by committees to elect Pam Keith.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The monthly price for most plans, about the cost of...
Welcome back to the African American Scene. Once again, here's Rudy Howard.
Well, Bob, call back. We got lines open. We'll get you in there. So we got, is that Bob? Okay, Bob.
Member of management.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You're on the air, Bob. Go right ahead, please.
Bob, go ahead. Bob?
Okay, Bob, you called the radio show and you wanted to talk now. You're here, you're on, and you're holding us up.
Yeah, you got your radio turned up too loud?
Yeah, he probably does. No, he doesn't have his radio up at all because he'd hear us eventually on there.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Bob, but you got to be there when you're there. Okay, Bob is no longer with us.
All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I think what they did with this Supreme Court appointment was disgraceful. And somebody asked me.
After everybody's closed and everybody's gone, call tomorrow between 9 and 5.
Somebody asked me, they said, well, I believe Democrats would have done the same thing. And I said, you know what? We probably would not have. We probably should have, but we probably would not have done it. And if we had have done it under the same set of circumstances, I would have been opposed to it. Because it's just not fair. You know, you got the election, you people are voting already. So, but any event. But like I said, we have set ourselves up for a more contentious situation in the Senate, and there'll be a payback. I'm not sure what it will be. I don't know whether it'll be court packing or making another area a state, but you can best believe there will be something. They're not going to let this go, especially after so many had made such bold statements about not willing to do it if the shoe's on the other foot, and the shoe is on the other foot, and they went ahead and did it. Hey, but you know, that's what it is. It is what it is. And they talk about, and their argument was elections have consequences. And I say, okay, even though 60% of Americans felt they should not have made the justice appointment. 60%. So, but it's done now. It's complete. And it'll be interesting to see as we move into the next year what happens, because I can guarantee you there will be an attempt at a payback. That's for sure. So, but we're down again 6 days, and I'll be one happy guy. Either way it goes, I'm going to be happy for this to be over completely. And here's one thing that I would like to ask all of you to do. Please try as best you can to not allow yourself to get caught up in conspiracy theories and make believe, because that does nothing but cause us great harm. When you allow conspiracy theories to govern your thinking, especially in these times, and I talked about this last week, it is so easy to check whether something is true or not true.
Especially before you call a radio station and comment on it.
Yeah.
Because, if somebody doesn't know the answer to something and they press you for an answer.
Yeah.
And it's something that happened maybe 50 years ago, has nothing to do with our current situation. That's not fair.
Yeah, but listen, the thing is, just like that conspiracy theory that Steve was trying to push about the Bidens. I even heard Ted Cruz say that was a ridiculous position. It made no sense, and it was not getting any traction. And he doesn't know why they're trying to push that when there seems to be no evidence that Joe had anything to do with that whatsoever. Now, and let me further say this. If any of you have grown kids, okay, do you think you get to control everything your adult child does?
Well, we kind of try, and we kind of hope so, but we know for a fact that it doesn't always work. The best made plans of mice and men often go astray.
Yeah. Yeah, you really, you cannot. So come on now. Let's just think logically. If you have kids, there comes a point where you can tell your kids anything you want to tell them, but if in their 30s or 40s and you're trying to tell them what to do, you better hope that all the training you gave them when they were young kicks in, because
they don't listen when they're 30 to 40. Especially if they still live at home.
Yeah. So what is Biden supposed to do with his grown son? And he's out there cutting deals and doing whatever he's doing. That's ridiculous. That's like if somebody's son or daughter becomes a drug addict, and they're going to hold you responsible for that? You don't know how that happened. They could have got mixed up with the wrong group of people or whatever the case may be.
And by the time you discovered they were a drug addict, it was way too late.
Yeah.
That's the way that works.
So, yeah. But anyway, that's insane. But I ask all of you, please, you can go and check. I once, about a year and a half ago, got something that came to me on Facebook that allegedly Ann Coulter had done, and I reposted it, and a friend of mine double-checked it and sent me a fact check. And since then, I do not repost things that I don't check. I go to Snopes.
Snopes.com.
Snopes. I go to Fact Check. Now they have something called Sci Fact Check. So you can check science-related issues, too, on the internet. So you got places to check to make sure that this stuff is correct.
Now, the first Steve that called tonight, he assumed that he knew who you voted for. And then secondly, I noticed that he thought that he was going to send you screaming back to take your vote back to vote again. I seriously doubt it.
No.
But you know what? You get the last word on your own show, but we got to take one more short break, and then we can come back, and then you can get the last word.
Okay.
Over all of them. Okay, so we got to take care of one more little bit of business, and we'll be right back with the African American scene.
My name is Lieutenant Commander Pam Keith. I am running to be your advocate in Congress. I will prioritize bringing COVID under control, fight to get federal money to help families and small businesses, protect Social Security and Medicare funding, bring good jobs to our area, and address the systemic injustice that has plagued our nation. I approve this ad because the people who got us into this mess will never get us out of it. Vote Pam Keith for Congress. Paid for and authorized by committees to elect Pam Keith.
And now, the final 2 minutes of the show. Rudy, you have plenty of room for your final closing statements tonight.
Okay. Well, I want all of you to stay safe. I would tell you, if you follow me on Facebook, you know I took advantage of that free COVID screening they had out at Whispering Pines Park, and I went and I took the test, and I got the results back on Monday, and I am COVID free. And my sister said, "Why are you surprised?" I said, "No, I'm not surprised, but I'm a little concerned. I'm in that age group." But listen, the next time I talk to you, in theory, hopefully, we'll know who the new president of the United States is, or we'll be well on our way to finding out who the president is, because there'll have to be mail-in ballots that'll have to be counted. But
no, I don't know if it's true or not. Didn't fact check it, but I heard that some states weren't going to be ready with the voting results until Thanksgiving. I think that's just a little cage rattling.
And I don't think that's far, but some states, you're not allowed to count the mail-in ballots until the actual night of the election. Now, in Florida, they're allowed to count them as they come in. So
on the machines.
Yes. So, but anyway, listen, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the African American scene. God bless. Go vote. Vote, 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 vote. And I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American scene.
Archives of this show are on YouTube under WPSL TV. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.